Hey, what's up, guys? Jag Maggot here for Jaggy Sports. And Kyrie Irving, a bit of a breaking news. Kyrie Irving is allowed to play home games. They would have to pay a small little fine. And the difference is Kyrie Irving will be allowed to play full-time as a full-time player. And that should resonate with the NBA that they are in trouble.
You won't know who else knows that they're hunting and also hunted. A little bit of both, actually. The Brooklyn Nets. So let's go from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference, because here's what the Nets have done since Kyrie Irving made his debut last Wednesday. They beat the Pacers in Indianapolis, right? They overcame a double-digit halftime deficit. And Kyrie had 22 points in 32 minutes. And in the big three, they combined for 79 points overall. But that was the only game that Kyrie was able to play in, because then last Friday, they lost by 12 at home to the reigning champion Milwaukee Bucks and trailed by as many as 24 points in that game. So the Nets had a tough time stopping Giannis and company. However, they got back to their winning ways on Sunday against the Spurs in overtime. So both KD and James Harden scored over 25 points. But it was Cam Thomas's runner with just over a second left that won them that game. So, Chiney, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown here on what Kyrie does to the Nets when he returns?
Absolutely. I don't know if we're like in the soap generation. I feel like they're like the young and the restless, or maybe as the world turns. Because literally the Brooklyn Nets, their successes, come with me. The Brooklyn Nets, their successes really as the world turns. And specifically for Kyrie Irving, we all know he can ball, but let's break down his play. So run me my tape, producer Kwaku, baby. Kyrie Irving clearly can play ball, but he first is a bucket. Look at the tight window he has in the pick and roll here to Domantas Sabonis, right space, but his hands are down. You know what I say? Man down, baby. So one, he's a bucket. Two, we all know we're going to get ball handling from him. Look at that behind the back. He's so great at splitting screens, but in this instance, getting between defenders that look like a closed wall. Instead, it's a Euro step. And lastly, you know, we said what? Bucket, ball handling. This man, he's going to be the man late in games. One-on-one, pretend like no one's there. I love how the Brooklyn Nets have everyone's feet outside of three, which means he can play that isolation basketball. And again, he's elite at finishing, you know, at the rim. So Kyrie Irving, I was very, very surprised in his first time out, how he was able to just adjust from first half to second half. But overall, this is exactly what you get every time. I mean, you're able to have Kyrie on the road.
Right. So you had him in Indianapolis. They win. Face the defending champions at home in the first game since Kevin Durant's toe was on the line. They lose. Then you play the Spurs, a team that, you know, they should have beat. So do you think this part-time experiment is working, Matt?
This experiment's like a Sour Patch Kid. It's sweet when you got him and it's sour when you don't. You know, as a fan, I was excited when I saw him play in Indiana. And then you think, oh, man, they get Milwaukee 2 days later. But then you think it's back at home on national TV and you don't get Kyrie. Obviously, we see how great this guy is. But I think this is going to be an emotional roller coaster, not only for the team, but the organization moving forward, because you know you're sitting on the brink of greatness when he is in your lineup and what this team is capable of. But then fast forward to the playoffs, if it stays the way it is, to have him only half the games in the playoffs is really, I feel like, going to hurt this team. So obviously you're going to take Kyrie wherever you can get him. I'm hoping at some point during the playoffs he'll be able to figure this out and he can play the entire playoffs to really give this team the best chance possible. But again, you got to take Kyrie where you can get him at this point. And if it's on the road, another thing, KD mentioned this morning, he's excited to get on the road and get to continue to see his brother and build their chemistry, because you got to think this team has only played, 10 games with all three of their superstars together. So fun, but tough when you don't got them.
And it feels a little bit early, Chiney, to make a full evaluation, because we've seen one game that Kyrie has played in. But one thing is that there are makeup games still happening. And so the Brooklyn Nets, they played, and then they play again tonight. So they face the Spurs, and then they have a makeup game at Portland. That is all the way across the country. So Chiney yeah, it's brutal, right? But guess who didn't play in that first half of that back-to-back? Kyrie Irving. So should KD and Harden maybe get relied on a little bit less tonight, Chiney?
You know, if I am the Brooklyn Nets, standing that the best ability is availability, I would actually think about, especially on the road, now that you have Kyrie back who can go more because he's part-time, maybe you think about resting your stars here and there on the road. Because look, Matt is here, not, he's shaking his head, but just, bear with me for a moment. KD has been putting up superhuman numbers. He's still leading the league in points per game. James Harden, you saw towards the end of last season that hamstring gave out, unfortunately. If you're trying to avoid that at all costs and win a championship at all costs, I would think on the road, maybe it's one time Kyrie and James, one time it's Kyrie and KD, and then maybe against the Bulls, okay, we're going to get the trio out so you guys get those reps, those necessary games. I think, like you said, it's a difficult position for the Brooklyn Nets front office to be in, but at this point, I would want everyone healthy and available. Now, Kyrie is a little out of control because you don't know his ability, based on the COVID protocols.
Right.
But, I would be smart with these stars so that they're available.
I think logistically thinking about it, you exactly right. You would want to rest these guys when Kyrie is back, but these guys want to play because they don't get them that much. KD said this morning, you pay me to play, I want to play, I don't want to rest. So
right.
These guys don't want to rest. They want to play as much with Kai as they can, but I do understand coming down the stretch, you may see points where if it's still the way it is, they might even want to rest at home, though, because I just really have a feeling whenever Kyrie Irving is on the basketball court, James Harden and Kevin Durant want to be there with them.
There's a balance, right? Because part of the reason they brought Kyrie Irving back, or the way that Sean Marks explained it, is they needed to take some of the load off of James Harden and Kevin Durant, but they also need to build chemistry because we saw that, along with injuries, hurt them in the playoffs. They have 24 road games left. Kyrie Irving is eligible to play in 21 of them. Remember, Toronto, New York can't play in those games.
So Kyrie Irving could be available in Nets home games if Brooklyn is willing to pay a small fine, which is obviously the case because they're billionaires. First offense, warning. Second, $1,000 fine, yada, yada, yada. So he'll be playing full-time. So it goes like this. The first game that he plays in the NBA in Barclays Arena, he will get fined, or the team will get fined $1,000. Second time, it's $2,000. Third time, it's $3,000. Fourth time, $4,000. Fifth time, $5,000. And every single time after that would be $5,000. So what does this mean for the title chances for the Brooklyn Nets? It means hell of a increase because now Kyrie Irving is allowed to play full time. This is not official, but there was a tweet out that said this, and I'm surprised that a lot of people are not talking about this, but it's legit. They just have to pay a small fine, and bada bing, bada boom. Mr. Kyrie Irving is back full time. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys didn't think that the Brooklyn Nets stood a chance with Kyrie Irving being a role player in their quest to win the chip, and now every person on that roster, like the big three, Harden, Durant, and Kyrie, will be there all the time, full time, and that spells a lot of trouble for the NBA because now you have a legit point guard full time and you don't have to keep making adjustments and stuff like that. So it's let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the comment section to find out, to let me know who in your opinion stands a chance at beating the Brooklyn Nets, if anyone can beat them, because with all three in the lineup for every single game now, that spells a lot of trouble because I just can't see anyone beating these guys. Like, sure, they couldn't beat Portland the last game, and John Morant and Memphis Grizzlies beat them, and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, I keep telling you guys, playoffs are a different format than the regular season, and basically, when you get all three guys like that, very experienced, very savvy for when it comes to basketball, great veteran leadership. When you have all three guys like that, and they're in their prime, it's not like they're past their prime. When you have all three guys like that, it's hard to count them out. So, like I said, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to this channel to actually you know get the breaking news content kind of thing. And so, like this breaking news, Kyrie Irving is allowed to come back full time. That is the breaking news. Subscribe to more in-depth breaking news, or me talking about the NBA, and yeah, you guys will be able to hear it first. Like I said, I'm shocked that no one else is reporting this right now. I saw a couple tweets on it this morning, and I watched First Take and NBA Today, and nobody's saying anything. And maybe it's not official yet, but there is going to be a small fine. So, like I said, Jag Mangit for Jaggy Sports. Subscribe to this channel.